Major spoilers ahead if you haven't seen Season 2, Episode 6 of Helluva Boss. The most recent episode of Helluva Boss gave us a lot of confirmations on what happened between Blitz and Fizzerolli, but one thing it didn't quite explain was why Blitz seemingly abandoned Fizzerolli at the moment he needed Blitz the most. Now, recently, there was a major leak of the recent episode in its earlier animatic form, without proper sound, let alone animation. I didn't see it until someone told me that there was a deleted scene that didn't make it into this episode, one supposedly involving Barbie Wire. Now, this shouldn't really be a spoiler for anything, what with what we did see in the episode, and I think instead they tried to convey what was going on in this deleted scene with the burning photo that we saw at the end of the flashback, but this deleted scene really ties it together. Fans had been theorizing for a while now about what made Fizz and Blitz fall apart, as they were presented as great friends in the childhood flashbacks of Season 2, Episode 1. This episode confirmed that it was a tragic accident at the family circus that caused their falling out, as well as giving Blitz his trademark scar over his eye and damaging Fizzerolli's horns, limbs, skin, and maybe even his vocal cords, explaining his Beetlejuicy voice. The craziest thing in all of this was that in Fizzerolli's flashback, Blitz seemingly abandoned him when Fizz was clawing his way out of the flames. This episode didn't give an exact explanation of what happened here, but in the early storyboards that got leaked, we can see that Blitz specifically saw his sister running out of a burning tent, and it was shortly after that we see Blitz running after her. While Blitz may have slightly seen Fizzerolli for a second, he was covering his eye, which itself had received quite the burn from the fire that he caused. From Blitz's perspective, it would seem that he didn't even see Fizz, and even if he did for a split second, the original story was that Blitz saw his sister and was running after her. I don't think this was removed to be a dramatic reveal later, so it's not really a spoiler, but rather the burning photo we see at the end of the flashback tells us that he ran to see what happened to his sister and mother. Blitz was probably worried about Fizzerolli after what happened, but the moment he realized his sister and perhaps his mother were in danger, that would be the only thing on his mind. While we can't hear what Blitz is saying in his flashback, the way his mouth moves, it almost definitely seems like he's saying the word mom. So whether or not he saw his sister canonically in the show or just in this storyboard, his mind was definitely on his family. In short, Blitz didn't abandon Fizzerolli at all, and instead only left for very positive reasons without actually seeing Fizzerolli, to go save his twin sister and the woman who gave birth to him. Unfortunately, however, Blitz's mother did not seem to survive, and while this burning photo doesn't prove she is dead 100%, it's a very blunt confirmation overall, what with Barbie Wire refusing to talk to Blitz and Blitz wearing his mother's skull necklace around his neck. It is possible that their father Blitzo is out there and still alive, but it's likely that he died in the fire too. If not, Blitzo seems to have had a similar reaction to Blitz as Barbie Wire, wanting nothing to do with him. Blitz may actually blame his father for the fire more than anything because of how careless Blitzo was about his relationship with Blitz and how blatant he was about wishing Fizzerolli was his son, what with his birthday card he gave him on the night of the accident. Fizzerolli would go on to have even more fame as the jester boy toy of the Sin of Lust Asmodeus, and this episode really made it seem like the explosion was ultimately for the best as far as Fizzerolli's life can go. I had originally theorized that he and Asmodeus might break up because of Blitz's interference in their life and Fizz's more romantic relationship with Asmodeus becoming public. But the end of the episode made it clear that Asmodeus legitimately doesn't care about how people view him, and he doesn't really want to hide his relationship with Fizzerolli any more than he has to. While this makes the explosion an ultimate net good in Fizzerolli's life and really what led to his happy ending, the same cannot be said for Blitz's sister Barbie Wire. We've yet to see any flashbacks with Barbie Wire, especially not with this animatic scene of her running away being removed. But we know from Veroska's joke about rehab in episode 3 of season 1 that Barbie Wire was considered somewhat famous. I doubt Barbie Wire was ever as famous as Veroska is as a pop star, what with Barbie Wire only working at a family circus, but it implies that she was doing really well with her career before becoming a washed-up addict. While it seems like a very easy connection that losing her job and mother would make Barbie Wire turn to drugs to cope, the real problem seemed to be the way Blitz was trying to interact with her following the accident. Because of Blitz's carelessness, Barbie Wire lost everything. She may not have had the physical trauma that Fizzerolli experienced, but between a level of fame recognized by Veroska and her own mother, Barbie Wire was left with very little to appreciate about life because of her twin brother. Blitz's response to this horrible accident that he caused was to cling to Barbie, to try and insist that they be as close as possible since they have no one else now. But for Barbie, that was more of a burden than if she would have lost Blitz in that fire as well. While she may understand that what Blitz did was a tragic accident, she still wouldn't be able to get over how much she had lost because of him. She may have even tried at first to be there for him, perhaps out of necessity as they tried to get new jobs and places to live and relied on each other, but it eventually turned her to a pharmacy's worth of different substances that she would abuse. It is because of Blitz's pushing into her life that she would have become an addict, and she probably didn't realize it was his fault for a long time. Barbie may have been in and out of different addiction centers, or she may have slowly just escalated until she had to go to the one Blitz broke into so that he could try and talk to her. In that particular scene, he is stopped by a nurse with a taser, with the implication that this sort of thing has happened before. While in rehab, Barbie Wire seems to actually have gotten clean, which I imagine is pretty rare in hell. She even seems to have stayed clean as she got out, surprising Blitz by her supposed sobriety while working in a job smuggling drugs from Earth. It would seem that, while there, Barbie learned the only reason she needed these things to cope was because of Blitz, the extreme pressure of dealing with Blitz and his neediness specifically. Without him there, she was able to process what had happened to her and how her life had changed. Now that she's on the outside of rehab, all she really wants to do is live a simple life, doing what she thinks of as honest work by hell standards. She left rehab without telling Blitz, and in fact seemed to leave a request not to let Blitz find out where she is. This nurse at the rehab center didn't tell Blitz what little she did because she wanted to betray Barbie Wire's trust, but because she thought it was actually the best way to give Barbie Wire the result she wanted, which was to be left alone. By explaining that she's got a job and just wants to be left alone, she hoped Blitz would really take the hint and stay away from her. Of course, that isn't what happened though, and Blitz ended up ruining Barbie Wire's life just a little bit more by getting accidentally involved in her drug business when a sinner calls out a hit on her supplier. And even after that, Barbie seems to just want to distance herself from Blitz so she can stay healthy. And while it was surprising and nice to see Fizz and Asmodeus seemingly become closer to Blitz and Stolas instead of joining the many people who want to kill them, I think Barbie Wire is closer to hating Blitz than truly forgiving him. While Fizz was able to move on once he realized that what happened to him was an accident because of the great status he had been elevated to, Barbie Wire has been screwed over by Blitz yet again, and she will probably have more conflict with him in the future. One thing Blitz mentioned in his conversation with Fizzerolli was that he was going through a very hard time in his life before that accident happened. While Fizz felt that Blitz was always jealous of the success he had at the circus, Blitz seemed to be far less successful than his sister as well, and his entire career may have been propped up by his sister's success in particular. While Blitz probably provided little to her act, the draw of spectacular performing twins probably helped bring people in, who were ultimately won over by her performance and not Blitz's. This left open something of a mystery for us to explore as we go into the second half of Season 2. We know precisely what Blitz did and what happened because of it, but now we get to slowly dig deeper into his childhood and his relationship with his sister specifically to see what he was going through and what he was trying to get help for. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time.